Just set that mint.
Not ready.
Just set that mint right off to the side. Did you make Instagram?
I forgot to take it off the Wi-Fi.
Well, hello everybody.
I'm
Instagram, we're gonna fix you real quick. Welcome everybody to Monday Night Live.
Hi guys.
As Kate works on our Instagram feed, we're gonna make sure that
we're back.
There we go. Kate's back. We're back. So welcome to Monday Night Live on Instagram. Facebook is going. We are excited to join you tonight as our viewers start to come online. Thank you for tuning in and putting up with our shenanigans.
Yes.
It seems like it's always something.
I know. The good news is the only people who are going to see the about the beginning was Moira.
Moira. Thank you, Moira. Well, hello again. I'm Dean Nixon. Kate Semmens, TurningLeaf Wellness Center, TurningLeaf Health and Wellness, as we like to go by now here in sunny St. George, Utah, coming at you live as always on Monday night.
I think you need to say Monday Night Live differently.
Oh, okay. Tell me why.
Because you didn't say Monday Night Live.
Oh, I did. You were adjusting the feed.
Oh, dang. My bad.
You missed it. So tonight we're excited.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate you. I accept your apology.
I threw you under the bus in front of the whole world, and I was wrong.
And they're cool with it. They're good. He deserves it. That's what I'll be thinking. So tonight we want to jump into our topic. We're super intrigued by this topic, not only because it was the topic we wanted to really work on tonight, but it was also unintentionally, but also timely wise, came up in group tonight in our Monday night support groups. And so I love our Monday night support group. Our family support group is here every Monday night from 6 to 7:30. We have a lot of great people in there from all different aspects and walks. So it's for support regardless. So some of the families are working through loved ones that are currently in addiction or in recovery. We have families that are going through grieving or loss. Families that are struggling with illness, any of those types of things, it's an opportunity. And then Kate's group, and a shameless plug real quick for Kate's group, every Wednesday night, 5:30 to 7. And this one, for all the ladies out there, please come and support this group. Even if you don't have anything to share, just to support those who are sharing, because we got to get women using their voices. So it came up tonight in group.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love that you brought up that group is not just only for families with addicts, right? Like, I think that's kind of a little couch that it's been shoved under. But if you belong to a family, most likely you're going to get something out of our Monday night group. That's what I wanted to say. And then you went on to the women's group. Another thing that I feel like maybe people aren't aware of is the group is not only for support, but also empowerment. Like, we have a really cool crew of ladies that we get together and maybe talk about some hard things that are going on in our life and figure out really cool, empowering ways to tackle some tricky obstacles.
Absolutely.
So that support piece, but also like, I'm awesome.
And I keep teasing with the topic. I still haven't told you what it is. So tonight's topic is gossip.
Yes. But we're not gossiping right now.
No.
We're telling you truth about those groups that we belong to.
That part was true. But tonight I wanted to talk about gossip. Tonight we wanted to really bring the topic in of gossip and how we all know how devastating it is. We all are frustrated by it. We all know how much it impacts us in our worlds. But the part I wanted to really dive into, and then you can just really go with it, Kate, is what really is interesting to me is how much social media is feeding into the gossip piece. And so the gossip itself isn't anymore just two people sitting down. Oh, did you hear about gossip? Now is what's being played out in media streams and being fed by, and our media actually is one of the greatest sources of gossip out there. That's why TMZ has become such a famous outlet for people. But here's where the problem lies. And this is, again, we always talk about the problem, then we always talk about solutions. And here's where the solution or the problem lies. The problem lies is that we get to the point with all the gossip going on, we're afraid that it's eventually going to be about us. And especially live in communities, especially live in towns, whatever religious affiliations we may have in those communities, even though it's preached that it's not there. We all know that it truly is. In schools, in colleges, on campus, it's everywhere.
Yeah, no one's exempt
Jobs,
from this.
Businesses, nobody's exempt.
Sexual orientation. I mean, we as humans love to classify ourselves. We love to put ourselves in our niches, right?
Right.
And so anytime we talk about any one of those niches, there's going to be that chat that happens, right?
The energy that comes from it. And what it's doing is keeping everybody from taking these healthy risks. It's keeping people immobilized with the fear of putting themselves out there, for fear of the repercussions, for fear of what people might say, what people might do, how it might be perceived, because a lot of it has a lot to do how we're perceiving it and what we're doing with it.
Right.
And it does create an inability for us to move forward. I see a lot of young men and women out there, especially that are coming in. We're calling them the after that great Matthew McConaughey movie, The Failure to Launches, that are coming out. These young men are afraid to go out and fail because nothing is not thrown out everywhere. Nothing isn't just
it's all pretty public.
It feels like public.
It because of the nature of our society these days.
Right. And so as a consequence of that, nobody's risking, nobody's taking these healthy risks, nobody's moving things forward, nobody's using their authentic voice and their authentic self. It's very filtered, it's very, very controlled. And so it's turning into a huge problem because we're so afraid of gossip. And so, big shout out to those that are tuning in. Mike,
hi guys.
Thanks for saying hello. But we really do need to talk about this topic of gossip.
Absolutely. And I love that you led with the social media piece, because this is a huge new, even though it's been around for like my nephew's whole life, right? But still on the planet, it's still a new thing. We don't really know exactly all of the different repercussions that we're getting from it. But I love that this gossip piece that we're talking about tonight is already clearly an issue when it comes to this. Because back in the day, you only had to deal with things when maybe you were at school or in your church class or, in your neighborhood or whatever was going on. It is potentially endless, and we all know the terrible tragic stories of kids that get bullied and the rumors and things that go on, and then it gets even more difficult because people become more cruel and brave to be more cruel when it's not this, right? When they can just sit behind their little glass windows and project their mirror, which is where we're going with this.
Is exactly where we're going with it. And before we do, that's one thing that I do want to touch on. Most people don't recognize is that the people that are now bullying have been bullied.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that we have to recognize, is that there's always an element there behind why somebody's being the way that they are. If people are gossiping, it's usually because they've been gossiped about or afraid of being gossiped about. And that's the one piece that I wanted to talk about tonight, is simply this. What people don't recognize is our reality, the reality that we live within everyday reality, is controlled by what you choose to focus on. So even those of you that are watching right now, this is what I want to challenge you to do. What you're doing is you're so focused, and you're focused on watching this video. And what has happened is you have now eliminated all of the surrounding things around you. So if you stop and listen for a sound, there's probably a sound going on near you, either children, computers, cars, traffic, whatever, it's going on around you.
Air conditioning unit.
And you have had the ability to tune that out and to focus in on this specific reality. And just because you tuned it out doesn't mean that it still exists. It still exists. It's still a reality. But the key is that you're making your reality by what you're choosing to focus on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so because we're choosing our focus, we're choosing our reality. So
yes.
Here's my point. And this is the part that may make you go a little cross-eyed. So bear with me. Here's my point.
We'll say it a few times. It's fine.
So if somebody's gossiping about you, all they're doing is revealing to you their reality.
Right. And their focus.
Because the things that they're focused on is what they're gossiping about. They're either focused on them because they're afraid of those things, because they're insecure about those things of themselves. Oftentimes I find people that are gossiping about, especially body image issues, people that are gossiping about body image issues are usually ones that struggle with body image the most. And they're talking about those things. People that are insecure about jobs or relationships, and they're talking about these things. It's usually because that's their focus, because that's what they're insecure about. So when somebody starts to gossip about you, we get so caught up in it, we become immobilized in it. But what we really need to do is to look at it honestly.
Right. And that honesty is, oh, that's their reality. That's their focus, which, here's the beautiful part, does not have to be your reality and your focus.
Right.
That's where we can take our power back.
Yes. And that's really the piece that's so important about it. The funniest part about all of this is simply this. When my mother, when I was a kid, right? And I was
only a little while ago.
It was a minute ago. And in transparency here, as a child growing up, I grew up with a severe learning disability and with dyslexia. And as a consequence of that, I spent the majority of my academic career in remedial programs and studying in what we would call now special ed. So a lot of bullying, a lot of taunting, a lot of teasing was a part of my life for many, many years. And I remember my mother once telling me a story. She said, what used to happen when I was a little girl is the boys would run up and they would try and scare us girls with spiders. They'd find a spider, Daddy Longleg, put it in their hands, they'd run up and they'd put it in our face.
Sounds terrifying.
It sounds terrifying, right? She's like, and every girl would scream and every girl would run, and I would scream and I would run. She said, but one day I decided, and here's the important lesson my mother taught me, which is so valid to what my point tonight. She said, my choice was to not respond. So the boys ran up, they put the spider in my face, and I didn't react. So then it was no fun. So then they ran off to other people, and they never once again put a spider in my face. And this is the part that's so important. The minute you respond to somebody's gossip, you validate their reality. So it's their reality, it's their problem, it's their issue, it's not yours. But the minute you respond, you validate it and you make it your reality.
Yeah. Oh,
I know this is deep, but bear with me. This is deep,
but it's
bear with me.
powerful. Like, because like, let's not pretend. Like, I think this is a pretty normal human response and condition for when this happens to us. I also don't think that most people are exempt from this experience on some scale, right? Like, it may not be full on, like, debilitating bullying, right? But like, at some point or another, you heard about your friends that we're talking about, like, and it's rough. It's rough. It's a hard
been there.
Human experience. Absolutely.
Yep.
So to be able to now have a skill set to not have that affect you, and you can keep doing you, as the kids like to say, like, you do you, boo, cool kids. Right?
Cool kids.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So it is important, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It is important that we learn that I don't have to take on whatever is being said. Now, this is the most important part about the whole thing. Most of the gossip that exists in your life, and this is, listen to me carefully, most of the gossip that exists in your life about you exists only up here. Because we perceive that people are talking about us. We perceive that. And that's the other side of the coin. So there's two parts of this that we can control. The first is we have to let go of the fear of what other people think of us. We talk a lot about it in our work, in our books, the key in our book, the 4 Steps to Confidence, the value-based parenting. James, you owe me a soda. We talk a lot about that greatest human need is to feel valued, and finding that fulfillment outside of ourselves makes it very hard for us to not take things personally. The second piece is really controlling the gossip that we perceive that's going on in our head. And we have to really disengage from that, believing that people are out there talking about us.
Right. And once again, what we focus on becomes our reality, right? So even if it is absolutely not happening, but that's what you're perceiving and you're focused on, of course that's going to be your reality, right? Because that's what you're focused on.
Then it's going to stop you from taking healthy risks. It's going to stop you from moving forward in your life.
Right. And here's another super interesting tidbit. How are we on time? Oh, we're doing great.
Yeah.
So if these things stop and stifle you from taking healthy risks, from putting yourself out there, trying to move your life forward and achieving your goals, your dreams, your hopes, your wishes. And here's, this piece is so interesting to me, Dean, because we let it stop us for fear of what people will say about what we're doing. But if what you're doing is trying to achieve all the beautiful, wonderful things you want in life, listen, celebrities and politicians, they don't care about how many people talk about them trying to move their life forward, right? Regardless of if it is true, isn't true, good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. No press is bad press. All press is good.
That's a true statement.
That is a fact, right?
That is a true statement.
So this can maybe be a little bit digging deep in there, but the more that you can take those tiny little risks, focus on your own reality, let everything else kind of go like we're talking about right now. And they start talking about, oh my gosh, look at what Dean's doing. How's he doing that? Does he think he's better than us? And really what they're saying is, I want to learn what he's doing, right? Like, it's just so fascinating to me.
It is. And I think that
was a tangent. I could go for hours.
I love you. It's a great tangent. A great tangent. But here's why this works. And so those of you that are out there going, yeah, why does that work? And here's why it works is because when you walk forward with confidence in what you're creating and you don't really feed in to and validate and let those other things stop you, you're not responding, you're not reacting. Mm-hmm. So it devalidates all the gossip. It devalidates all those things that people may or may not be saying, and it pushes you forward because your focus now becomes your reality. Mm-hmm. Your focus of creating this beautiful life, your focus of getting the help you need, your focus of loving the people you choose to love. All of those things become so important that people forget what the gossip was. People are just focusing on what it is that you're doing to move yourself forward. Mm-hmm. And that's the part we have to remember. Any movement you make forward in life is going to come with resistance.
Yes.
And some of that resistance is gossip. Sorry. I've had it. You've had it.
Absolutely.
We all are going to go through it, still going through it in life. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to being human.
Being human. But you can't focus on that. You've got to focus on where you're headed and what you're creating. And therefore it devalues and devalidates all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it moves you forward. And that's why that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I pause and rewind to one thing you said?
Sure.
Because you said you can't focus on it. You can, you're just going to stay stuck, right?
That's
if you
true.
Don't want to stay stuck, then you need to choose not to.
Right.
And move yourself forward anyway.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We focus so much on all these things like we talk about in the key. And we mm-hmm. talk about that concept of focus being that first coping skill. We focus more on what makes us uncomfortable than what we want in our lives. And I see it, with people that want help and they want to get help, but they're so afraid to get help because people might gossip.
Right.
I see our millennials struggling with it because they want to become great. They want to move forward. But what if somebody videos them falling down? Or what if somebody blows them up on social media or thinks that, says, oh, you think you're so this or that. Mm-hmm. And it stops them. It stops parents from being honest and real about the challenges and struggles that they're having with their own children. It keeps women fighting with women and envying women mm-hmm. because they're so caught up in their own reality and embracing other people's reality and making that their reality, that women are not helping shoulder each other up and move each other forward. It's affecting us so adversely. It's time to stop.
Yeah.
And again, as we wind down on our tide, people, please, I'm not above begging, Kate.
I know.
I'm not above begging.
Me neither, Dean.
Make this your topic of discussion this week. Talk about it at work. Talk about it at the dinner table. Talk about it on the car drives. Talk about this topic. Talk about these concept tools and pieces, and let's start changing the world around us. We are always looking. We're always walking around wanting to make a difference. So you recycle a can. You use a little less water. You walk some stairs, and you talk about overcoming gossip.
Yes.
And let's make the world the place we want it to be.
I love it. I love it. There's no more that can be said tonight because we are out of time, and that was the perfect ribbon on that package. I think that statement. So thank you so much for joining us. One way that you can also help us make this a topic discussion is like and share our video.
Yes, please.
Also not afraid to beg about that. Help us reach as many people as we can that could potentially, well, all the humans on the planet need to hear this, but anybody that really needs to hear it will most likely be able to do that if you like and share.
Absolutely. So thank you all again for being there. Thank you, the wonderful Kate Semmens. Isn't she amazing, everybody? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you all next week on Monday Night Live.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going high.
I'll go low. Bye.
Goodbye.